I took a minute to look at Cory's decks.
They were exciting to watch. I talked to him a little bit in between, and he was like, "Oh, we saw him trying to decide between a Diesel and FM." He's like, "I just went with the 31st card. Probably okay to do."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard to know sort of what to prioritize in the draft because you don't necessarily know what everyone else is pulling.
Yeah, you get
so.
It's that's why you do the corp first, so when you run, you can kind of know what to prepare for. We're about to get started. It looks like Cory is corping first. His corp deck was nothing too crazy, just kind of run of the mill.
Yeah, I saw some pretty sort of mid-range basic ice. Nothing, not super combo pieces or anything like that.
Right.
So it looks like he's probably going to try and just set up a scoring server early and maybe get a window where he can score, but. Didn't look like it could necessarily hold up late game to a solid rig. So
now, it does have a surprise fetal, but he did have to play 2 priority wrecks, which might come back and bite him. We'll see.
So early on here, deciding on whether he's going to keep that, looks like. And he will. He will. So it did look like he had a couple pieces of ice.
Yeah, I
didn't see any economy, but...
No economy, but you have ice, and you don't want to be left with all agendas and no ice. So
yeah, especially in draft, it's important to not agenda flood early because you're not playing necessarily the most optimal agendas anyways. And Kevin, over here on the right, as the runner, looks like he has an Armitage.
2 daily casts?
Could be. It does look that way. So he's going to be starting off really strong here in terms of money. It's going to depend sort of on what rig he drafted. Yep, and there goes the first daily cast. And so, actually, is that an Ash over there for Cory?
I believe so. It could be. I think it might actually be a priority wreck.
Okay, similar cards, the agenda and the upgrade. But Kevin, not really going to be too worried about that. If it is an Ash or whatever it is, he's got an Armitage and 2 daily cast down. So he's just setting up his economy, and he'll be looking to search for his rig as he goes along here. Cory just icing stuff up.
Oh, I think he had an Ash.
Yeah, so it might be an Ash. But again, without the economy, it's...
I think he had both.
Yeah, that would make sense. If you can get that scored early and you have any sort of decent target for it, it's pretty good, especially in draft, because again, it's not going to be a super fast runner getting set up. And Kevin here has a lot of money, but if he doesn't have any way to get into that server, obviously.
It's pretty good. If Kevin goes for R&D first, that'd be awesome. Cory can just let it go through. Don't have to spend the money on the ice and just risk it. Shore up your remote there and score out probably a 3-2 next turn.
Oh, wow. Kevin pulls out an inside job. Oh, what?
It's a red herring.
Okay.
I think.
And there is a brain trust on it. Okay, so, we were just completely off base there, but it is the upgrade and the agenda to sort of hide behind it. But that inside job probably going to be pretty unexpected for Cory. And how powerful are cards like inside job in draft?
In draft, I don't think you can play around it.
Yeah.
You just got he had it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
That's fair. And it looks like a Mimic. Yeah, I think a Mimic in Kevin's hand, so that's the only card he has left. But
on the same hand, on the other hand, there, if that was a fetal or something, Kevin would be dead. So,
yeah,
that's
the trade-off certainly. So, would you say in that sort of situation, when you're in draft, would you tend to be more aggressive because it's not as likely for them to have a fetal?
As a core player, I am. I would have.
Okay, but as a runner, you don't think so? Just because it's too wide a variety of agendas and assets?
I think as a runner, I try to get set up first, even in draft. I just try to. I think at that situation, I would have made him spend money. I would have ran R&D, ran HQ. And if he was broke, didn't run the remote. But if he still had plenty of money,
sure.
I got 2 free accesses. I'll probably just gain some money or install something. Yeah. Let it go.
Yeah, and any sort of information in draft that lets you know sort of maybe what they were drafting. So that's always good to have. But Cory finally going to pull those pieces, restructures.
Now the thing is Cory going to be worried about another inside job?
Right. Right. Well, but again, in draft, I don't think you can worry about that, especially a second one. That seems like that's
if you got more than one inside job, good for him. He just wins.
Right.
I think that's the attitude you have to have.
I agree with that. Yeah, certainly. But looks like Kevin just drawing up. Going to be trying to get a rig out here eventually. Mimic, not the greatest century breaker. It's fixed strength.
There's not a whole lot of scary ice, though.
Right, exactly. But, without having any idea what Cory's sort of game plan is, you've seen a red herrings and a brain trust. That doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Yeah, you could face a Grim or a
interesting. We see both an HQI and a Keyhole in Kevin's hand. I can't really see that fourth card. Might be forged activation orders. Special order. So Kevin has some pretty decent setup here.
He has some options.
Yeah.
Definitely has some options. I kind of say you Keyhole, go for the Keyhole, see what he reses, and special order, Mimic to back it up.
But he's just going to go straight for the special order. Maybe he knows something we don't.
He has 2 Keyholes.
Yeah, looks like there's a second Keyhole there. We just saw Pasper. He had an eater. Two eaters. So he's on the eater Keyhole plan, so that'll look pretty standard and familiar to a lot of people.
With HQI backup.
Also a Faust. So he's got the AI breakers to get in everywhere.
I don't think Cory drafted any swordsmen, so
this could be rough.
Yeah, this could be rough for him.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a Lotus Field, but it's not great.
No.
There's a wraparound in there, which is really good against both Eater and Faust.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I saw any other, like a Fract or anything in Kevin's.
No, I think he got a couple of next bronze.
But he's gonna find those pieces, right? And he doesn't even know it's coming yet. He knows the Eater's down. Not sure what he just drew. Is that the Fetal? I think that is the Fetal AI he drew. So, but he's just gonna ice up. He sees the Eater. He knows that Kevin's just gonna get in anywhere at this point when he has money for it. So in this position, when you see the Eater, maybe he's got the Keyhole coming, or maybe he's on the sort of account siphon vamp plan. Do you try and score out quickly, or are you just trying to build up and get money so you can take those hits and sort of weather the storm?
I'll try to score out quickly. It's hard for the corp to race the runner on money,
right?
In my opinion. So unless you got some kind of super econ engine built, I think you just kind of like get out ahead and then just try to weather the storm.
Right.
That Keyhole can do quick work.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and if you don't sort of take the opportunity to score early, that Keyhole quickly takes the opportunity away, and scoring also puts pressure on the runner, right? They have to make those decisions that hopefully for you are going to be suboptimal.
Now, Kevin doesn't have a lot of money. His daily cash just ran out. He did get a lot of value out of them, but he doesn't have an econ set up.
He doesn't
either,
have sort of a constant drip or anything. But he's going to drop the Faust. That's interesting.
Faust seems risky in draft.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily have any recursion, and it's hard to get necessarily a lot of card draw or hand size. And especially because he already has Eater down and not necessarily a clear target. I'm not really sure why he's dropping the Faust now.
Yeah, I don't. He has a HQI in hand and don't understand. I'm not saying it's bad, just don't really understand it. Seems like Keyhole and just Keyhole would be a...
But it looks like he might be running HQ.
Yeah. But, he did see Cory lay down another piece of ice on his remote.
That's true, so he might be thinking there's an agenda in hand. He's right. But if he uses Faust to get in there, it's could be a very quick game. So... Yeah, so it looks like it is an HQ run. Cory just deciding whether or not to res that ice. Could be an Enigma. I know I saw that in his hand, but it's not.
It looks like a Lotus.
He's paying more than that.
Oh,
Shinobi. Yeah, that's a good one. That's 3 subroutines for Kevin to deal with. It does give him a bad pup, which is going to be relevant with the Eater, especially if he starts getting Keyhole online. But I think in draft, powerful ice like this is pretty impactful.
Can't Faust through it all. I think it would take too many cards. 1, 2, 3. Right. Oh, his whole hand.
His whole hand, right.
Sure, I guess.
And then if he hits the Fetal, he's dead.
Right. Eater will cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And it's hard to see how much money he has, but I don't think he has it. I think he maybe has 5. So
yeah,
it looks like at least one of these traces is going to fire.
Yeah.
And that's
cannot use the bad pub this turn.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty bad for Kevin.
Huh. It's interesting. Thought Kevin had good control of this game. I thought he was going to go with the Keyhole plan.
Yeah.
Decides to do the HQ, which maybe he read Cory right. A good play, and kind of now I think he's in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about draft, right? You never know what ice is about to pop up, and something like this. You know, I looked briefly through Cory's deck, and I didn't see any. I didn't even notice the Shinobi. So
I didn't either, to be honest with you. And he just looks like he paid it with Eater, and
yeah, and then just bounces. It looks like jacks out. Can't risk, running into something else that's going to take you to 0 money or cards out of hand. So Cory draws
Capital Investors, which is interesting.
Yeah.
He only has, looks like about $6, $7 now.
Yeah, it looks like 7 now, but he installs.
Next turn he can make bank off of it, but Cory's also he's kind of in a position to score there too.
Right, and by putting it in that server now, he's sort of got to wait it out. He does have the priority wreck, it looks like, in hand.
Yeah, I would want to get that out of my hand as quickly as possible. We didn't have quite enough money to score it and protect it.
Right.
So,
well, and we already see one big piece of ice rezzed, so it might not be a great target for it right now, but I don't think you can worry about that really in draft. You just want to get it out. And Kevin, on the other side of the table, personal workshop.
With a bad pub, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Now he just puts the Keyhole in there, and
yeah, both HQI and Keyhole are gonna just pop out whenever he needs them.
Yeah, that's
the thing is, though, he's still not sitting on a lot of money, so that's not necessarily gonna be a fast rig. But that has to have Cory worried, right?
It's basically like he has a pseudo desperado. He's gonna gain a credit every time he runs. Feed it into power or a personal workshop. Get that Keyhole in line in like 2 turns.
And Cory, as expected, just takes 6 money.
Did he draw?
He did. I did not see what it was.
Okay. It's a new card. I couldn't tell what it was.
No, it's a Chimera, maybe?
No, he had the Chimera. I think.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I think Ben's right. I think it was a ABT or something.
So, not ideal for Cory to draw, a third agenda into hand?
Yeah, but that Shinobi is doing some work.
Kevin, on the other hand, speaking of Desperado, he's got it.
There's a Desperado in the cube? No. That's a...
Is that a mem chip?
Cyber Solutions?
Yeah, Cyber Solutions mem chip.
Okay.
But look, no, there is a Desperado in hand.
There is. Wow.
Yeah. And a Boxy as well. So he's got to choose one or the other here.
Huh.
And it seems like on the Keyhole plan, the Desperado is going to be pretty good.
So he went with Boxy?
But he went with Boxy. I guess he's planning to use Faust. He wants to be able to access.
Okay.
And so that's his sort of solution to the hand size dilemma, but, not a great one still.
Just put both of them on there. Just put them on. Put everything on there.
Yeah, I mean.
Whatever. It's not like.
And that allows him to sort of make a decision later, but.
Cory didn't draft an Elizabeth Mills or something.
Which would be quite a blowout here, certainly. But gonna draw ice. A Cortex lock, maybe?
No, Baku.
Himitsu Baku, yeah. Oh. So more small, just sort of taxing ice, which is going to be good against a Faust, if that's all Kevin really has plans for.
See, right now, I think Kevin's winning this race. I think.
Yeah, the question is sort of where Cory's going with all this money. Is it just to res the ice to protect? In which case, why not score now? Kevin's on 3 money. He doesn't have much of a rig out. Certainly, he can maybe get through with Faust, but.
Did he trigger his personal workshop?
He did not. I did not see it come off.
All right. So at this
point, the Keyhole is at 2 though, so maybe.
Maybe he did. He drew successful demonstration, which is probably going to be bad this game. It looks like.
Yeah, it seems that way. A turn or two too late. But just icing up that remote and taking money.
Yeah, I think at this point, next turn Cory needs to score out of there.
Yeah, so unless he has, I guess, more ice than I saw. I can't imagine he's feeling comfortable unless, as you said, he starts scoring out pretty quickly here.
So right now, I think Kevin just needs to run the remote, see what he reses, so he'll be prepared for it. Use the bad pup to take the keyhole off and just keyhole. That puts pressure on 2 servers kind of right now, and I think it put Cory in a bad spot.
Yeah, and with Armitage out, you take all that money off. That's fuel for quite a few keyhole runs.
Yep. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, 10 looks like, so certainly looking good for Kevin here, especially with 2 points already scored. You got to wonder when Cory's going to make that decision to. Do you think it's just because economy is so hard to come by that maybe he's valuing that a little too highly and not willing to sort of trash it on his own?
Yeah, I believe you're right, and it's kind of interesting. Economy is probably one of your most important resources in Netrunner, but time is probably the most important.
Right.
And they just lost some tempo because he had to reinforce R&D.
Right.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's. I mean, I'd be facing a lot of pressure looking at that board.
Right. And draws into an errand boy. So more ice. I guess if he just wants to go vertical and maybe that's his solution, it's not unreasonable, but
I think that's what you got to do against Eater, Faust, Keyhole.
Make every run super taxing for the runner. Because there comes a point at which it's not reasonable to keyhole through 4 or 5 pieces of ice if you can't afford to do it more than once a turn.
Yeah. Draft Keyhole's you got less cards to Keyhole.
That's true, and 3 of Jacksons are not
right.
something to fear.
1 of Jackson is probably not something to fear.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So.
And he just drew up with Diesel.
And he does have the Keyhole.
Don't quite know what Kevin's waiting on.
Yeah, he did just draw a Vamp, but Cory again outmoneying him for the time being. It seems like Kevin's deck is trying to do a little bit of everything, and that might be why we're seeing some of this sort of indecision, is that he's got all these different plans available to him, and maybe he's just not quite sure which one he should follow. But it looks like maybe doing the Keyhole run. So the Diesel maybe just fuel for Faust, in case he feels like he needs it. A Snowflake.
That's fine. I'll res that there.
Yeah,
easily break it. But what do you want to do? Toss 2 cards to break a Snowflake?
Yeah. Certainly not. I mean, and it's
$2
2 credits for Eater. So
yeah, with the bad pub.
Well, yeah, with the bad pub.
Good thing Cory reminded him of that. Cory's a nice guy.
It's something I always forget to use literally anything on the board, but bad pub especially.
Is that Enigma?
Yep, looks like it. So 2 credits with the Eater. Kevin happy to pay it. And the first Keyhole. Hard to see. Looks like
no agendas.
That is an Ash. There we go. An Eli and something. Didn't see the other 2, or the other 1 card.
Yeah.
So the Ash is in the bin. The Eli goes back.
I do know that Cory has an Interns in his deck.
Okay.
And that could be a plan.
if he can interns that Ash back onto R&D, give him a little bit of time maybe, but that's,
Right now, I think he's fine to score out of that. The Keyhole's going to do what the Keyhole does. He needs to race right here. I don't think he has enough cards to let it go on another turn. Looking at Kevin's board there, and he has, probably about half his deck, if not more, in his hand and board and trash. So he has to weather this storm, and then Faust will be useless here in a little bit.
Right, yeah, without any recursion on the runner side. Kevin does have a lot of memory for some reason. So interested to see if maybe we missed a program or 2, but 2 Cyber Solutions mem drives.
Well, with the Eater or with Keyhole, you want to have that extra MU.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I guess
for breakers, but if you're playing as Eater and Faust,
he's prepared for anything.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. But so he's going. Oh, he goes back in.
That's the other
Keyhole and then grabs the priority wreck.
I think that was it. So this might be over with next turn. I don't know how many agendas Cory has in hand.
And Kevin's going straight back in? No. Okay, so
Subliminal, which
Cory's got a turn here.
Pretty sure Subliminal's not going to do much this game.
Yeah, it gets him 1 credit, but
and successful, but he may. I think he just has to score.
Well, you would think he's probably going to ice up archives.
I don't think you have time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, I know it sounds bad, but
yeah. Well, and the game's not over if that priority rack is stolen, but he's going to draw up. And green level, okay. Draws into a roto turret? Yeah, I think so. And then put it in front of R&D. So yeah, sacking the priority rack, but as you said, 0 points. I don't know what his plan to get to 7 is.
6.
6, sorry. That's right, draft format. Before Kevin keyholes him to death. And there's a lucky find, so that's fuel for Eater. And I would not be surprised to see a double keyhole here for the last 2 clicks.
He forgot to trigger personal workshop.
Personal workshop, yeah. At this point, probably because he's not concerned with it, but he's going to go.
Tosses a card.
Archives makes sense. I mean, there's 3 points in there. Puts you on game point. I mean, he can toss the. Oh, I guess he already had the Desperado thrown away. Looks like a decoy.
Oh, I think it's a crash. Bank job.
Bank job. Yep. So more money. So yeah, Kevin's got plenty of economy cards.
Yeah.
The pseudo economy off personal workshop as well.
He has a strong deck.
Yeah, it looks that way.
I don't know about the Boxy. He might have drafted that first before the Desperado.
Yeah.
But Desperado, just like in Constructed, is really good in draft.
Really good, yeah. It does a lot. Cory just adding more to R&D.
It just seems. He's playing the lockout plan, which I think's kind of bad.
Well, and you'd think here at some point that Kevin would run that remote to at least force the ice res, if not to get an in-trash deck, because that's the only economy Cory has shown.
Yeah, and it's let him put up a fight.
Yeah, certainly. But, game point now, anything Cory does, he's got to be careful of. He can't afford to drop another agenda to archives, for instance. And they're going to start building up in his hand if he's not careful.
Which is kind of fine. I don't think he can break through the Shinobi.
Right.
Without risk of death, which is...
Right, which is sort of... And that might be all Cory's trying to do, is force him to run hand. But at this point, on 5 points, it's a lot to ask of Kevin. So Kevin having to choose here whether or not it's worth trying to get into R&D. I think I would at least go once.
I think you run it. You gotta make the corp spend money.
Yeah, see what the ice is. Now I know Cory has a wraparound. That would be pretty good over R&D, and so yeah, Kevin's gonna do that. Hive.
Hive's decent.
Yeah, it's 5 subroutines right now, 5 strength or 3 strength rather. So it's not cheap either way. But you just got him to spend 5. So
yeah,
if I was Kevin, I would let it bounce me and now run that remote. But it looks like he's thinking about it.
I can't tell how much money Kevin has.
I think the bottom one might be a 5, and then 3 3s.
13. All right.
Yeah, it could be 4 3s and a 1. Double digits certainly. So he can get through the hive, but
yeah, I think you just let him bounce it.
Again, yeah, it becomes pretty inefficient at some point here.
Because as soon as Cory tries to score out of that, he loses his econ engine.
Right.
Now, granted, Cory does have a successful demonstration in hand, but he has one small window to play it.
Right. Wow, and so Kevin looks like he paid through the hive. Cory...
Which is fine. He's on game point.
This is the roto turret.
Yeah. Kevin's just in a really good spot. I mean, when he runs out of money, he just toss cards. And
yeah, at this point, Kevin can look at that remote and say, it's probably free to get in, which is what I imagine he would do, but he's going to discard to Faust, which is fine. He had cards in hand at that point, which he was not going to use, which I think is probably the strength of Faust in draft, is that you end up with cards that...
Yeah, you get full value out of all your cards.
Yeah, you really don't. Yeah, you don't need. So...
If you got some sort of recursion like Retrieval Run or Clone Chips or something,
could be.
Even better.
But yeah, it looks like Cory has a handful of cards left in his R&D right now. So
yeah, Cory also has to worry about that time frac.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, and there's more economy gone for Cory, but at this point, he's only got so many turns left before he's done.
Yeah, and knowing his deck, he's going to have to score 3 agendas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially having already seen...
Oh, you're right. There it goes. Runs it.
Yep. Now, there is 2 credits left. There's a wraparound somewhere there, I would imagine, would be my guess. But there it is. And so that's going to be pretty prohibitive for Kevin right now. But Cory's broke.
Yep.
And so this turn, he can't really afford to get rid of that econ. So my guess is that he will just take 6.
Yeah, I think he just takes 6, and then Kevin will build back up. Kevin's going to win this race unless Cory does a successful demonstration.
Right.
So if Kevin backs out here, I think Cory's in decent shape.
That's fair. So Cory will take 2 and then play the successful demonstration.
Yeah.
Which puts him back up at a sort of a healthy amount with all of this ice res.
And then I think he just clicks capital investments again.
Isn't successful a double?
No.
Am I crazy? Okay.
It's really hard to trigger.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know why I thought it was a double.
That's why you don't ever see it.
Well, yeah, that's probably why I thought it was a double.
Even at 1 influence, it never makes it splash to other
decks.
decks.
It's a single influence? Man.
Why do I know it's 1 influence? Because I've tried to make it successful.
Of course.
But as I've demonstrated, no, it's not there.
Put it in Wayland. I'm not even going to address what just happened. B-, sir.
Oh, no, that's an A+.
So
Kevin
Cory just taking money up. Yeah, Kevin drawing back up. My question is also how much more economy Kevin's got, because he's had some decent sort of asset burst.
I think he's just loading up for next turn.
Yeah.
Just.
But at some point, it's going to be tough for him to get money to use Eater, which means he's going to have to use Faust to get in either Keyhole or to that remote.
Did Boxy just come into play this turn, or does Clone Chip need to come in play?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Clone Chip's in play. I could be behind a turn. Sometimes these turns take forever.
Yeah. Yeah, draft, certainly a slower format. Looks like HQI just put on. So he's probably pretty well aware that Cory's holding agendas in hand, but the question is how he's going to get in there. And at this point, you'd have to think Cory's going to think about trying to score.
Yeah, I think Kevin's in a really good spot here. I don't even think he has to run. I think
he can wait for Cory to just mill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he has enough cards left to score 3 agendas. Unless he has recursion of some type, but imagine you guys would have made note of that in the draft, right? It's a piece of...
He has an interns.
Yeah, I said recursion.
That's all he's got, man. No architect.
No architects, no Jacksons. No cricks. So
looks like 7?
6 or 7?
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, it's doable, but he needs to, well, so it looks like he took 6 again, so.
So here's the thing.
It's going to take him 7 turns exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
If he has 2 5-3s and a 3-2.
Yeah, because they already lost 1 5-3.
Yeah.
So I think at this point.
Yeah, see if he mathed it out like that, but unless he has some plan on killing Kevin, but I don't see it. Maybe last ditch dropping the fetal to
entice him to run it. It could work.
Yeah, to see if if he drops enough cards to Faust to break through that wraparound. But again,
I think that might be probably his best line of play.
Yeah, at this point, because I think expecting to score out for 3 straight turns. Because again, you have to wonder where your money's not coming in anymore. If you're spending 13 credits to advance things, then how are you going to res that ice? So subliminal. There you
got
go.
Some value there.
That's how. He's going to subliminal every one of those turns. And there it is. Oh, Oaktown. But see, how does he have time is the question.
Well, I think you just advance, score it,
and then install the next one. Maybe a 3-2, yeah.
All right. Then I'll turn after that. Runs it through. You'll have 4 cards left, if I did the math right. Yeah, I mean, he could go just a 3-2.
That's doable. But we've already got 1 brain trust over there as well as the priority rec, so.
So what was it? It was priority rec, brain trust, Oaktown, Atlas.
Fetal. That's it?
I think so. Brain trust, Oaktown. Oh, brain trust, Oaktown, Fetal is 8, and then the 6 points for the priority recs is 14.
Yeah, 14.
That's what it is.
Yep.
So he does have enough 3-2s left.
Yeah. And Kevin is going to run that remote.
Chimera has spin 2 to text a card or 1. So it's actually a card. Spin 2 to text a card out of the hand.
Yeah. And I guess we know that if Cory had dropped the fetal there, that would be pretty good. But I don't know. Maybe Cory's more confident in this ice than we are. I mean, wraparound still wraparound.
Yeah.
So
he has to have 2, so 4, 6, 8, 4 cards to get through.
Yeah.
Wraparound. Is that a Marcus?
Marcus, I think. Yeah. So 4-3, 2 subroutines, trash a program, and end the run.
Yeah, but it's really only kind of 1
trash an
subroutine
installed card, I guess.
You can click through it.
Yeah, I think you click through 1, you let it end the run this turn, and so he's going to score the Oaktown. But now you have the information to figure out exactly what you need to get in that server.
Yeah, I think the best play here is to next turn advance, install fetal.
Yeah, and then hope that
he bites it.
He bites into it and goes for it, because that gets him the game certainly.
Yeah.
Scoring out, it's maybe possible, but there's also a way Kevin. So Kevin just there's a game.
I guess
day.
he had what do you have on the board that let him? Was it a bookmark maybe?
I'm not sure. Oh, maybe that was it.
A bookmark,
maybe? That was bookmark on the board.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what that was. I saw you put a bunch of cards there.
Yeah, the face down cards, and it wasn't Street Peddler. Well,
that
was a surprising end.
But
yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so he's got the boxy hand size. He's got bookmark to sort of back it up for those situations right there when there's a wraparound on the table.
I mean, it's kind of gotta say I was impressed. Only in draft will you see the boxy eater Faust Keyhole bookmark combo.
Yeah, I was pretty hateful of of the Faust when he laid it down. Very confused. Didn't think it was the right play. But I guess he showed us.
Yeah, he did, and it's actually he has to have a way to get through archives.
Right.
So,
sure. Certainly.
It's just
so it makes sense. And the only other breaker I really saw was a passport. So he might just be all in on those AI breakers, which means if somebody does have a swordsman.
I don't even know if swordsman's in the cube.
It's a good question.
I think it is, though.
It's almost like a voice told you.
Yes.